In this lesson, we are going to look at the states of matter, including examples, properties, as well as changes in state, and understanding differences between boiling point and melting points of different substances. The three states of matter are solid, liquid, and gas. Solids have a fixed shape and a fixed volume. Liquids take the shape of their container, but they have a fixed volume. Gases take on the shape of the container as well as the volume of the container. Another thing to look at is the distance between the particles in each state. Solids and liquids are known as condensed phases because the particles are relatively close to one another. When we look at a gas, we see that the particles are very far apart from one another. This is one of the qualities that distinguishes a gas from either a solid or a liquid. When you compare a solid and a liquid, we see that the particles in a liquid are generally farther apart from one another than in a solid, but the difference is fairly minimal compared to the difference between a liquid and a gas. Now we want to look at the names of phase changes that we see between solid, liquid, and gas. The first one we'll look at is fusion, which is going from a solid to a liquid, and we also know this as melting. Going from a liquid to a solid is freezing. Going from a liquid to a gas is vaporization. This can happen through evaporation or through boiling. Going from a gas to a liquid is known as condensation. We can also go directly from a solid to a gas or vice versa. Going from a solid to a gas is known as sublimation. The most common example of this is with dry ice. And we can go from a gas to a solid through deposition. We will also look at the energy associated with phase change for a particular amount of a substance. In going from a solid to liquid to gas, we will see that energy is consumed from the surroundings and that this is an endothermic process. One way to help you remember this is to think about a boiling pot of water. If I set a pot of water on the stove, it's not going to boil on its own. I have to turn the burner on to provide heat, so I'm putting heat or energy into the system to get it to go from a liquid to a gas. Energy is released to the surroundings when I go from a gas to a liquid to solid, and that is known as an exothermic process. So it will have a negative energy value because energy is being released from the system. If you get confused, think about the boiling water, which is an endothermic process. The reverse process must be exothermic.